Usually, you want to do an announcement by now? I mean, some of these we're going to be like, there was a game. Cool, we move on.
Yeah, we burn
Or do you
right
want to
through.
just jump to Indy and talk about Indy at the top?
Well, I have seen Indy, so we can just jump right in if you want. Or we can save it as a little bit of a tease because I have gone behind closed doors and seen gameplay of Indy that I can now finally
Give
talk
us
about.
a Christmas present the night early. Just start off with the big one.
Ba, 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 ba. We're going to start there. Ba, 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 da, da, ba, ba, da, ba, hey. Ba, ba. All right, so, of course, if you're joining us, whatever, your second to last announcement was the Indiana Jones presentation, where it was not Indiana Jones, but Troy Baker, the voice of Indiana Jones, walking us through a whole bunch of footage, some of what we've seen, some stuff we hadn't, talking about the whip, talking about the punches, yada, yada, yada. The news comes at the end, release date of December 9th, 2024 for this game on Xbox, a Game Pass. Gets a pop there. That's exciting. It's after Game Awards. It's after Game Awards nominations would be out. It's after Black Friday, so it's one of those questionable things. An interesting timetable to play with. We talked about that. But perhaps even more interesting, right? The fact that they do that release date reveal, then... And we have one more thing from everybody got excited about Indy. Everybody's like, okay. And it was spring 2025 coming to PlayStation 5 for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation I look forward to having with you and the team. And I see Paris is in the chat. Maybe he'll call in because he also got to see Indy as well alongside me. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, I liked the Troy Baker behind the scenes stuff. I thought that was really cool. I think it was very touching about like growing up with Indy and now he gets to wear the hat. That's awesome. We got the release date, right? First week of December. Barrett and Tim really didn't think that was the right spot. I thought, hey, Xbox needs a staple here. They need a win for the end of this year because it's been a long one and a rough one for them. This is exactly what I wanted to see in that first week of December.
Okay. I want to get to that and pull on that thread a little bit, but here's more important. You saw it.
I did.
You just said they need a win, they need this, they need a hit there. Is this the hit? Is this the one? Is Indiana Jones in the Great Circle something? And how much did you see? What? But is it answer from what you know? Having done this thing, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Is this the stuff? Is this the winner? Is this holy shit? I can't wait.
This is I can't wait. It's not holy shit, I can't wait for me right now. This is exciting. I like what they captured with Indy. I like what Machine Games has talked about and shown. I got to sit down with a number of press media with the game director and creative director on the team. They did a Q&A, and they showed us actual gameplay of a mission. So we went out to the pyramids of Giza and got to see a nice little snippet of that.
Okay.
And so for me, I guess, coming from Machine Games, when I think of speed and gunplay, it's a little bit different than that, right? You're indie now, and you are first person, as all of us know from Machine Games pedigree, but it was a little bit slower than I was anticipating. And I think that is Indiana Jones at its core, right? A little bit slower pace. The opportunity to stealth certain areas, to engage, but it's a lot of fisticuffs, Greg's. It's a lot of throwing punches that felt and looked a little bit slow on the screen. I think when you're playing it, it will feel different when you're throwing those meaty haymakers.
Sure.
But watching it, it didn't appeal to me when I think of what this team is capable of. But when I think of Indy, it fits the scene, right?
That's an interesting take in analysis, Mike, because I feel like that's been one of the disconnects I have with this. As somebody who enjoys Indiana Jones, fine. I'd never, dressed up as Halloween or anything like that. But I enjoy the movies enough. When I've watched this, even when Troy was like, the ferocity of the punch, it was like, I looked at the punch, I'm like, look, that punch doesn't look great. But what's so special, both good and bad ways, for video games is what it's like to play a game is not what it's like to watch a game.
Yes.
And I've noticed that throughout the years of playing games and having like Jen sit next to me and she looks up and she calls out some weird HUD thing or some stupid thing a character's doing on the side that I'm not even paying attention to because I'm thinking about the action in front of me or what I'm doing or when I log into a shop or whatever the hell it's going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gotten that vibe from this. Not that it's moving at a weird pace, but that it doesn't look great, but I'm hoping on sticks it'll feel better.
Yeah, it's an interesting when we talk about look, right? Because I'm excited to talk about the gameplay because they talked about the journal and the camera, and that was a big facet of our behind-the-scenes stuff of, hey, this is going to be a big impact on your gameplay, but on the look itself, you also have to remember when he does this traversal mechanics, whether it be climbing or whipping and kind of gliding across the way, he's going to go into third person because they want you to remember, oh, this is Indy, right? Even though you're in the eyes of Indy, but they want to show him.
Yeah.
But it's like this weird half step that never looked quite right on the screen of, oh, I'm now going through this hole or tunnel or I'm whipping the top rope and I'm going to slide across and you transition into this third person view, but it's so fast, right? You're not whipping for that long when you're gliding across the thing.
Interesting.
It's
So it's
about
like
a half
snap in,
second
snap
to a
out, snap in.
yeah, and I didn't like the snap in, snap out of this. I think it will be different when I know that I'm the one controlling the moment when it's going up. But when you're watching it, it's a very interesting transition of like, I don't like that, you know?
And it's another one too of like, I feel like most of the footage, even though I'm talking over footage right now that doesn't do that, most of the footage we see of the game does feel like you're watching the movie because you're looking at Indiana Jones on the screen in the cutscene right there with his journal, right? And it was interesting to hear Troy in the marketing material, but the video we saw say like, oh, first person, so you feel like you're Indy. When I like third person over first, and I like that because I can see my character.
Yeah.
So I think I'd feel more like Indy if I was in third person doing it, but I obviously haven't played.
Of course, and it's machine games, right? So they
Who
are known for first
they
person,
are
so
great at
that's the
first
big
person.
one. But it was very cool in the, of course, Q&A now that I want to bring up and move into
Please.
gameplay, right? We talk about this is the largest machine games game that they've built, right? And I think every company says that as we get into these cycles, but it is interesting to have them talk about the ideas of sections can be open, they can be a little more linear. We're going to work with puzzles, of course. When I think of action-adventure games like this that are globe-trotting adventures, I think of Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I think of Uncharted, right? And so what are the puzzle mechanics? What are we going to be doing with that? And a lot of it has to do with your camera. There's going to be times where you bust out this camera and take photos, and that might reveal what the next step is. You're going to put it in your journal, and there's a lot of, hey, go to the camera, take a photo, go back and look into your journal and read what's going on with Indy. And I didn't love that, right? I didn't love that idea of, hey, it's all about the journal. Now you take photos. You're getting, you noticed, Indiana action points or something like that. And those will be perks that you will be able to earn through these lost comics that you'll find out through the world. And then, of course, spend those points on certain power-ups and abilities.
Interesting. So one thing before we bring in the one and only Paris Lily, who I'm excited to have here, but the question I have about that stuff is, did it feel like taking the photo and putting the journal in, did it feel like Alan Wake 2 in the wall, or did it feel like
I didn't play Alan Wake, so I couldn't tell you. That's going to be Paris.
Fucking Christ.
That's
Paris Lily from, of course, Gamertag Radio, an ex-cast alum and a kind of funny contributor. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I was just watching and listening. I was like, oh, yeah, I got to dive in on the Indiana Jones stuff because I was in the same preview with Mike.
Two things. Number one, I don't think camera grabs your focus. I think it's focused on your door. So you got it. There you go. Get your hand in front of it and change it. Now you got it. And good. And then number two, did the journal and the photos feel like Alan Wake, or did it feel like just some dumb, like the Uncharted journal that you never pay attention to?
More like, not dumb like you're going to discard it, but not as, I don't think as good as Alan Wake.
Well, welcome to the show, Paris. How are you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. This, I'm with Mike that this is a game, it's a day one, but I'm still not 100% convinced this is, oh my God, the next best, greatest thing, because I think it's leaning a lot on the nostalgia of Indiana Jones to hook people in. So old people like me, of course, I'm going to love it, but I think a newer generation, it's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting with the gameplay itself to get people to want to get super excited about it. Now, I liked what I saw. Okay. I don't think I'm as critical as Mike was as far as the transition goes from first person into third person in the whip, because I think what you're saying, Mike, is kind of spot on. I think when you're controlling it yourself, it's going to feel pretty natural to do. Clearly, Troy Baker, from the extended look we got, he's nailing the Harrison Ford voice acting, so I don't think we're going to have any issue there. It looked like something that fits in the Indiana Jones universe, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It seems like a natural extension of what Indiana Jones would do. Because I remember one thing that the devs were talking about is there was a scene, Mikey, if you remember, where Indy's walking like through this like bazaar, like these shops. And they were saying they were doing a realistic recreation of the 1930s. They did a lot of research to make sure they were historically accurate with a lot of that stuff. A question I had when we did the Q&A, which it was the best question anybody asked.
He always asks the best questions.
Very humble.
No, but I asked them about, because they showed a lot of stuff with the pistol, and I go, can you like run and gun through everything that you're playing, or is it going to be a combination of stealth, like how it is? And they explained it that while you technically could run and gun through it, it would be extremely hard to do. they want a nice balance of your greatest asset is your mind, is Indy's mind. So they want it to be a little more stealthy and always trying to look for alternative ways to get through a situation versus you just pulling out your pistol or your whip and just, bum rushing your way through. So it'll be interesting to see how some of those scenarios work out through the gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked, the opportunity of side quests and finding different things. They definitely encouraged, hey, walk around the world, listen in, see if there's some other things you can go get lost with, which is always encouraging in games. But it looked fun. I liked the world. It felt very indie for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you walking around and listening to get lost and stuff, like, it's not open world. Like, you're not jumping location to location whenever you want to, right?
No, it seems like when you're in that area, you'll probably look around there. But we didn't see anything besides, of course, Egypt on that one.
All right.
Well, that's part of the looking around for clues, and then that's where the journal does come in. There are some side mission quest things that you can discover in the game. It isn't just 100% linear, but you'll have to discover those on your own. And that's, again, using the mind of Indiana Jones and the various clues that you can find in all these rooms and scenarios.
This episode is brought to you by Hims. Guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims has treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you that boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments such as chewable hard mints, proven treatments like Viagra and Cialis, or their generics for up to 95% cheaper. No insurance is needed. The process is simple and 100% online. No uncomfortable in-person visits necessary. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/kindafunny. That's HIMS.com/kindafunny for your personalized ED treatment options. HIMS.com/kindafunny. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions, details, and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. Here's the thing about birthdays, they happen all year, which means there's probably someone you should be buying a gift for right now. Give them something really special with Aura Digital Frames. Aura Frames are easy to set up, update, and enjoy. Plus, Aura Frames can be preloaded with photos and gift messages, so whether you're giving the frame to your sister, grandma, or your mother-in-law, you can make sure that the gift is personalized just for them. Recently, I gave my partner Leanza an Aura digital frame as a gift for our 6th anniversary, and we both adore it. We love being reminded of some of our most special moments, and it always starts some of the best journeys down memory lane. Right now, Aura is having their very first Friends and Family sale, and we've got an exclusive offer just for our listeners. For a limited time, you can get $35 off their best-selling frame by visiting auraframes.com and using promo code KINDAFUNNY. That's AURA frames.com, promo code KINDAFUNNY. This is the best offer of the season, so don't miss out. Terms and conditions apply.
So then, Paris, I started talking about it with Mike at the top, but I want to bring in here your reaction to a December 9th release date, but also the spring 2025 PS5 release date.
Surprised by December, because I was convinced, especially when Avowed got delayed, I was like, they're going to make sure Indy gets in the Game Awards window just for Troy Baker alone to get a nomination. You're going to get those accolades. So they're obviously going to miss that window for that. So I was surprised to see it was still December 9th. As for the PS5 one, I'm surprised and I'm not surprised at the same time. Because Xbox has clearly been signaling this is their new strategy since the beginning of the year. I think they probably saw enough success with those first 4 games, more specifically Sea of Thieves, that this is not going to be the end. Especially, I think, for Bethesda and Activision games, I think you're going to see a lot of this with those. Like, as an example, I would imagine Starfield at some point will come to the PlayStation 5. It won't surprise me at all. So
could get your trophies
either
there.
you accept it or you don't. At this point, I get some people are going to be upset by that, but this is
I'm not
strategy.
upset. I'm disappointed. I love my Starfield save file and my story so much that I will not try to replicate that on PS5 for a plat. Like I love everything I've done and am doing and get my fucking car tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm excited for all that. I wouldn't want to.
I'm more interested, Paris. Do you think this is a Disney type situation where Disney looks at you and goes, hey, we want everyone to play in this sandbox. We're totally cool with you jumping on this, but this is such a large IP. We want this out to the masses, right?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Spider-Man tells me that's not the case because they would have done that with Spider-Man.
Do you think
if that was the
Spider-Man
case.
has more leniency because of, obviously, from last generation, the larger player base?
I mean, potentially, but it seems like, and again, we'll never know the truth. It seems like at one point Indiana Jones was 100% exclusive to Xbox, and something's changed in the short term that now they're deciding, all right, let's put it on another platform. I think Blade is another example of this.
Blade's where my mind goes.
Platform.
Paris, I jump right to Blade of like, oh, this is probably what we're going to see right here then. It's right. An early release on Xbox. A couple months later, you'll get Blade over on every other console. I think that's how this is going to go. And I agree with Paris. We're going to see a big multi-platform kind of strategy moving forward with Xbox. Yeah.
I think, you know what I think surprises me the most is that they said it now.
Yeah,
it was
right?
so funny watching it. I go, oh, so it's not going to be, they're not going to say PlayStation right now. And then Jeff did it like it was a one more thing. And I'm like, oh, wow. They really want you to know that this is going to be on PlayStation at a later date.
I understand the cat's out of the bag. There's rumors out about it. We might as well kind of, but really, like, you'd want to give someone a reason to be excited at that date, you'd think. I think if I'm Xbox, I want you to play it on Xbox. I want your money no matter what, but to say that there are going to be so many people who are going to like, oh, let's wait.
Well, I think the catch is like you get it that day on Game Pass, right? You can play it in December on Game Pass. Yeah. That's their strategy here, right? And then the idea.
But I think that strategy works so much better if it isn't, or you could wait till a PlayStation because there's so many people.
Like, or you could pay $70 on PlayStation.
And I also feel
later,
like both of you guys, the way you're talking about it and what we've seen of it, it does not strike me that Indiana Jones is going to be holy shit. You can't miss this game. And if it's going to be a hey, yeah, it's good. I think people will be all right. I'll rent it when it comes to PlayStation. I'll do it on PlayStation. And not everybody, but enough people where it's like, we always talk about these fucking dominoes on Xbox's table, and the domino needs to be, here is an amazing game you can't miss that is out right now on Game Pass. You can get it for $10 or $15, whatever it is.
Well, if it was like that, I think you put it in December, you want us to forget about it because it's not in the Game Awards nominations like Paris just brought up. We put it in December. To me, this is tracking as this is going to be a good game. Yeah. Maybe a great game, but this isn't a change the tides. Everybody's got to have this 100% game at all.
Right here, Demon Hacker says, Indiana Jones feels like an 84 Open Critic. I think that's very optimistic based on what we're seeing here. I would think 78, 79. Knowing nothing other than the trailers I've seen and what I've heard.
78 to 82 is my window.
I would say that's a little low from the extended look that we got. I would put this as a mid-80s game, just from what I've seen so far. I'll obviously have to play it to know 100%.
Of course.
But I would put a little higher than that. I was going to say the other part of that surprises me, again, saying that it's coming to PlayStation now, is you're dropping new hardware this holiday, that all digital Series X. And I think there's a different variant of the S coming out as well. You would think, hey, maybe this could be something to sway someone. Well, you know what? Let me go pick up an Xbox and I'll go play indie and get Game Pass and all of that. Now, if I already got a PlayStation, I'd be like, well, I'll just wait till March.
And that's the jumping right between the price differences if you don't already have the platform. Yes, there's cloud. Yes, there's all this. There's a million options, but we also know how. I think somebody went through there saying the 80s nostalgia, yada, yada, yada. But I think that 80s nostalgia is a great window if this game was a 90 or even an 80, whatever, and it's like people like Paris who are like, oh, I grew up loving Indiana Jones. I don't have a current system or I don't have an Xbox.
Yeah. I think we've heard from Phil, right? We know that there are too many people over on the other side of PlayStation that are not going to buy a new console. They are ingrained in that library. They have all these games, all that money. They're not jumping ship for an indie that's a 92.
Yeah.
They're not jumping for a Gears of War that's a 95, a Halo Infinite if it was 99. They're just not jumping ship. And so you got to go to where the people are. And that's the best way to do this right now in 2024.
Agreed. Paris, before we let you go, what would you have rated on the Kind of Funny scale Gamescom opening night live 2024?
A 7 out of 10.
Fair enough. I like that. You're right there.
Everybody's aligned. Yeah.
Paris, thank you so much for swinging by.
Oh, thank you.